Welcome to the first episode of In Case You Missed It, a brand new YouTube series brought to you by Zippy Zoo. For those of you who don't know me, I'm 22, I live in Cardiff where I studied media at university, and now I've graduated, I work for a car insurance company, so everything is going exactly to plan. I'm now looking for a vessel that helps me pour petrol onto the burning, heaving mess that is my own narcissism, so join me on a journey where we look back at some of the hot topics of the last week on this magical ride that is 2017. The first thing I'm going to talk about is something that you're actually very unlikely to have missed. Strong start. It was the mammoth and completely epic spat between two British celebrities. On one side of the ring, we have national treasure and all-round good guy Piers Morgan. On the other, we have do-gooder, no-for-nothing useful J.K. Rowling, a woman whose main contribution to my life was a beautiful and mesmerising anticipation that was viciously crushed on my 11th birthday when the acceptance letter conveniently failed to show up, confirming me as the basic muggle bitch that I am. Cheers, J.K. The whole spat stems from a clip that went viral of Piers Morgan getting told to fuck off by the outspoken Aussie comedian Jim Jeffries. It was due to Piers smugly trying to defend Donald Trump's quote-unquote travel ban on an American panel show. Now, it was extremely satisfying, don't get me wrong, but I think we can all collectively agree that to really feel like Piers Morgan's getting his fair share of karma, we'd all love to see a reenactment of Cersei's Walk of Shame, you know, having paraded naked up and down the streets of London whilst we all line up to throw our own poo and rotten veg at him. What followed was truly glorious though, and here are some of the best bits of this Twitter showdown. Ultimately, what we learn from all of this is just not to mess with JK. She's worth her own weight in gold, and if you do take her on, she slams harder than an RKO. Piers Morgan, on the other hand, is well on his way to the Contributed Least to Humanity Hall of Fame. Good job. Now, this all started over, yes, you've guessed it, the insufferable president of the USA. A man who's fast becoming known as Mr. I like to hold press conferences to show off my attempt at a big boy signature, Donald Trump. This sinks our teeth nicely into subject number 2 of this week's In Case You Missed It. Trump's first few weeks as president have been such a monumental clusterfuck it'd be too much to tackle in 8 hours, let alone one sitting. But here's some of his best bits. After looking at that shit show, I think what we can summarise is definitely the most terrifying aspect of Trumpland 2K17 is that he is ferociously sticking to his word. In the space of a few short weeks, he's managed to piss off and please people in such a terrifying juxtaposition. It really just exemplifies the deep divisions that are felt across the world right now. Ultimately, all I feel I can say really is that I've noticed a trend, right? And I see this a lot. I see it in comment threads. I see it online. It's everywhere. And it's a general consensus that people argue Trump's president now, all right? The American people voted for him. If you're in the States, you probably heard people say this yourself, you know, oh, come on, get behind him. We voted for him. He's our president. You've just got to do that. And I refuse to accept that as a counter-argument to Trump's presidency. It's not that I'm failing to accept he is president. Obviously, he's president. That's not something that I'm struggling to comprehend as a very basic fact. What I think people that oppose Trump collectively fail to accept is his ethics, his moral character, his behavior and actions both before he was elected, in the primaries, and in the first few weeks in office. Trump is unpresidential. He's insecure. He's spineless. He comes across like a buffoon, a babbling madman in these press conferences that he holds. Some saving grace, though, at the end of the week was when a NBC reporter highlighted Trump himself endorsing alternative facts. Trump had claimed to be the most popular candidate since Ronald Reagan, to which the reporter clearly pointed out that there has in fact been Democratic and Republican candidates before him that were far more popular and won with a greater margin of electoral votes. Now, after this was pointed out, Trump merely said he was reading information off a piece of paper provided to him and just asked that the reporter agree that he's popular. What the rest of us seem to be feeling is that we'd like Trump to join us back in reality, where there is mounting criticism and a heap of unanswered questions aimed at his administration in terms of what they're doing and how they're conducting themselves. In the UK, things are as grim as you'd expect at the moment. In 1 week, we've seen several reports that easily turn the stomach. The BBC delivered a fantastic piece of undercover journalism that shed light on just how horrific the conditions are at Her Majesty's Prison, Northumberland. What mainly sucks about all of this is that this prison was privatised in 2014. We're in an era of endless cutbacks, and at the time, the government aimed to remove £500 million from the prison's budget. To seal the deal, the company that took over, Sodexo, argued that they would save the taxpayer £130 million over 15 years. That included 200 jobs, as well as 96 prison officer posts. They were all cut. Something that at the time prompted the Prisons Association to warn this could and will lead to bad things. The story that the BBC have uncovered is horrific. These prisons are being run by the prisoners, essentially. They're, rife with drugs, with prisoners that are being left unable to get out of bed, with holes in fences, with contraband everywhere, and it is just horrific. It's not how our prisons should be run. Now, when probed about this, what did Sodexo have to say? The security and safety of our prisoners and staff remain our top priority. For me, I just feel like if this is your top priority, maybe have a rethink. Maybe make jelly beans or goats or fucking pumpkins your top priority, because if this is you functioning with that genuinely as your top priority, something isn't working and it just might be time for a rethink. In equally depressing news, a report has surfaced from the British Pregnancy Advisory Service, which has made the public aware of rising numbers of women turning to abortion drugs available online. In doing so, women that are already vulnerable are risking, harming themselves further, as abortion without medical consultation is highly dangerous. The government's response to this has been to warn these women that in doing so, they could risk up to a full life sentence in prison. All I can add to that is that I feel it has been proven time and time again that the forewarning of prosecution is rarely a turning point that prevents individuals from breaking the law. Rather than focus on the end of a cycle that already finds women subject to horrific circumstances, then being punished, we should take a step back and look at it and think about how we could get to the beginning of that cycle and, make it that these women don't turn to the internet if they need an abortion, that there are proper facilities that are readily accessible and are easy for them to turn to. Now, lastly, we have something, again, that you're probably likely to have heard about this week, which is about famous YouTuber PewDiePie. Felix Schellberg has had a difficult week that has seen him be dropped by Disney and have all eyes of the world turned to him after accusations of anti-Semitism mounted. PewDiePie posted a video that contained him utilising website Fiverr. For those of you who don't know, this is a website that started conceptually as you'd pay a $5 and you could get things like a logo or a caricature made. It's now bloated into something where you can pay $5 for people to do anything, and that's resulted in PewDiePie doing a vlog where he got two guys in a jungle to hold up a sign that says "Death to all Jews." Whilst I have extremely thick skin and a relatively dark sense of humour, as my friends will know, I have to say this is a bit of a no-brainer in terms of the backlash that followed. That said, I do feel for the guy, and I'd recommend you watch his response to everything that's gone down. Whilst it in no way justifies that video specifically, it does offer an interesting insight to contemporary issues in terms of new wave media against traditional larger media organisations. Overall, I feel that he doesn't really deserve the hate wave that's washing his wave, but come on, if you're sponsored by Disney, maybe, just maybe, don't post a video that contains the words "Death to all Jews." That brings us to the end of episode 1. Thank you very much for watching, and if you like what you've seen, please subscribe, like, or comment. Or don't. We're all going to die anyway. I've been me, you've been you, and that was In Case You Missed It by Zippy Zoo.